Calmsden farm, and we are off to the store to lease a herbicide spreader. And because the first job I want to do is deal with the weeds we have in field 6, and then just going to go around the farm sorting out our environmental score, because if you've watched me do this on Greenlands, if you want to max out the weeding score but you don't have any weeds, you can just drive around the fields and spray a little bit and it sorts it out. So I'm going to lease the Cartech because it gives us see and spray. Yeah, and you need the 18-meter one, so lease that. 3 and a bit grand to lease that, which is kind of painful. I'm going to buy a front weight for the little 5M because it's probably be useful to have in general, and it's John Deere, so we should have a John Deere weight. We do have some herbicide in the shed here, but don't fit, so I'm going to grab the skid steer and get that out. Still thinking about upgrading the skid steer, possibly to the tracked Kubota one. That gets rid of the issue of weight because it's really heavy. It can pick up a lot of bales in one hit. Still doesn't have massive reach, but you know, it's a good option, I think. Just going to put some row crops on here because although we have tram lines, I don't want to risk destroying any crop. That's that done and everything reattached. And yeah, we're just going to spray some herbicide and get rid of these weeds. I'm not going to use massive amount, and just to show, as soon as you turn on the see and spray, you get the maximum score even though there are weeds still in the field. So you could then have, if you don't want to use lots of herbicide, I mean this doesn't use a lot anyway, you could use a mechanical weeder on the field earlier on, get rid of all the weeds, and then just come in and do the see and spray to get the bonus. Up to you. That's how precision farming works, and you know, you'll see we instantly got the bonus for the whole field, even though you know we'd done 5 feet and it's a big field. So yeah, that's how it works, and that's what we're going to do in every other field. So we have advanced to May, and so the patch of grass that we destroyed last time has started to grow, and actually it's already caught up with the rest of the field, which is really nice. But we are not going to be doing any grass work now for a little while, just because I fancy doing something different. We might end up actually skipping some time, and in fact I'm lying because we're going to be doing grass work in this video, but not for us. I'm going to be doing some contracts later on just to bring some cash in, get some free bales, get paid to take bales. I'm not sure how that works. I think part of the problem with contracts, might as well talk about it now. So I'm going to be doing some hay making contracts, and I think that certainly with precision farming, the fields yield a lot more than the game expects for contracts. So if you look in, you know, around better contracts, that tells you how much you need to deliver. And if you run additional field info, it tells you the expected yield. And I find that the yield you get with precision farming, certainly for grass, is much higher than the expected yield that additional field info tells you, and I expect that is also based on what is used to work out how much we need to deliver. So I think that's why I'm getting a lot of excess bales on these contracts. I don't know if that's intended or not, but now we're just running around now, turning the see and spray on each field and getting our weed treatment bonus, even though we don't have wheels, because weeds. We have wheels, we don't have weeds because a lot of these fields are already ploughed. So I did find that with this field I needed to drive into the other side and switch it on, and job done. Most of the field's done. I think at this point I'm going to unload the sprayer, put in a tiny bit and go up to the linseed field, do the same on that. That should cover all of the common ground, and then we'll return the sprayer. Oh no, we're going to do the cow field first because I'd forgotten that. This field is acting slightly weird actually, because it's saying that the fertilizer is not perfect even once I get it perfect. Bad at the moment, but so just checking we have some digestate in here, because the next job we're going to do is fertilizing. So yeah, just got 40 odd litres of herbicide in the tank. We actually probably only needed about 1. That's how broken this is at the moment, but you know, I'm just playing the game as it is. Speaking of broken, Had a couple of comments about the Kubota mowers and being cheaty because they only need 200 horsepower versus the Caverna and Vicon needing 240 for the rear mower. The Kubota website lists the requirement for those exact mowers as 200 horsepower. Though my slightly sarcastic comments about Kubota using better technology or whatever seems to be true. I haven't looked on the Caverna and Vicon website, so we're just returning the herbicide spray, and I'm now going to put on some row crops on the fen, and we are going to get the fertilizer spreader on there and get that done. Yeah, I've not looked on the Caverna and Vicon website to check what they say for their mowers, but they're essentially the same mower, and Kubota say 200 horsepower. It's the exact model that's in the game, with the Vario spreaders and everything, so I don't know. They, I don't know, Kubota are obviously better engineers at building the same bit of kit. Anyway, so we're loading up all the spare fertilizer we have. I think the corn needs fertilizing, the sugar beets need fertilizing, and some of the grass needs fertilizing. And we have some slurry and some digestate in the yard, so I'm going to use that for some of the grass work. But I can't be bothered to go up to the shop or go up to the BGA to bring more digestate back, so we're going to use some solid fert for some of it as well. I'm thinking that I might, I've been torn. I've been thinking about putting in a digestate store on the farm, and then we can just, when things are quiet, maybe with course play or auto drive, run the shuttle backwards and forwards between the BGA and the yard and fill it up. Then I was also thinking, actually, maybe we should just buy one of the containers like I used before, and then we can move it around the yard. But I'm not sure on that one yet. And I could use the modular BGA digestate store and then just set the BGA to distributing, and it would instantly deliver it to the farm. It's kind of not in the spirit of how I'm playing this one, but I am actually seriously considering auto load on here, not for the bales, for all those pallets from the greenhouses. Particularly if we expand how many greenhouses we have, I think it's getting to the point where already, even with just 2, it's a pain to load them up. So thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Really appreciate your support. If you're interested in either of those, there are links below. Patron, you get the exclusive Let's Play series on furling, and I ask you questions sometimes. YouTube channel members, you get to be, and patrons, you get to be in the videos as well as landowners or workers. And speaking of patrons, I have just asked on there for ideas for tutorials and how-to videos, so there will be some of those coming from the ideas that hopefully spawn from the Patreon page. On to the sugar beets now. So this is the field where I ran the fertilizer box on the front when I had the planter going, but didn't seem to apply any fertilizer. I think it was because with ProSeed I had turned off the fertilizer function, I think. So we're just going to do a bit on the grass field as well, just to get that so it's perfect. We don't need it to be perfectly perfect or more perfecter. Just perfect is fine for grass. So this is one of the other grass fields that's lagging behind a bit because we planted it quite late. And I think what I'll do with that is I'm just going to wait until they're all ready to mow again, and then we'll do the hay cut. So filling up with digestate at the moment, we end up using digestate and slurry because the triggers are so close to each other. I accidentally fill up with slurry at some points. But I'm going to get the cow field fertilized. This needs quite a lot of nitrogen adding. So yeah, currently adding 65 units of nitrogen, or kilograms of nitrogen per hectare, which will take us straight up to perfect for grass. Not over fertilizing this time because I kind of want the digestate. I originally planned to just use digestate, but digestate and then slurry that we're using to last to cover this field and field 8, which are the 2 grass fields we need to fertilize. I think field 8 is actually probably okay. So we're now picking up slurry, which I hadn't noticed. Yeah, I think field 8 is probably okay because we had done a pretty good job of fertilizing that beforehand, but I'm just going to keep adding stuff. You will have just seen the farm dairy in the background. which is now on Mod Hub. If you didn't see my separate video on it, or see me talk about it on Discord. Yeah, so go grab that if you like it, and if you like it, or if you're indifferent about it, rate it 5 stars. If you don't like it, then just ignore it. Cool, we're good. So if mods are rated over 4 stars, you get an extra 50% on what Giants pay for mods, which is a pretty small amount, but it all goes into the fund. So yeah, go rate it 5 stars, or ignore it. So on to field 8, and just applying about 50 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare now. Field already has some nitrogen left on it, so this should be getting us into a pretty good state for field 8. And yeah, as I said, I'm going to let all of the grass fields now get to the last harvestable state, which will be July for the fields that we've just mown, and then we're going to do everything. That'll get it all at the same state. I think that seems sensible. So the dairy that I was just talking about has run out of milk, so we're just going to fill that up quickly. This is an incredibly tight spot. I could really do with getting that person to move their car that they just leave permanently in that really annoying spot. Given that I own the land, I might get them to move it. Anyway, on to some contracts. So I have a hay baling contract for Cartech in field 4, and he seems to have got himself a big M. So yep, we are, and a Fendt obviously. He does love a Fendt. So going to get this done, and also going to pick up contracts in, I think it's field 11 and 34 or 31, 2 smaller fields that are right by our yard. So I'm using the contract mowers bale trailer because there's an auto stacker, the Arcusin, and the Fendt 1050 on the baler and the auto stacker, and then I've got our tedder on the back of the 5M because it's a decent combination, so we might as well make use of it. It means we can be multitasking, and I'm going to stick our windrower on the Fendt 500 because this contract came with a Merge Max, which I don't think the Fendt can run, and there's a bit of difference in working with, but not a massive amount. So yeah, so here I'm grabbing, I think, the field 11 contract, and then just going to have a quick look at the map, and yeah, it's field 34 that we go for as well. So I was looking at just in field 11 and 34 because I thought they would be nice and quick. Ended up doing the bigger field 4 contract because this is field 4 is about the same value as both of the other 2, and then I thought, screw it, I'm just going to do them all, because that's kind of the only job we've got to get done with the rest of today, and I'm not actually sure what we've got left to do in all of May, so we might be doing a fair bit of contracting. If I end up just doing grass working contracts for the rest of the month, I'll do that off camera, and I'll just show you what we get at the end, I guess. So header and running on course plate, need to let that get a little bit ahead, and then we're going to get the windrower going on course plate as well. And I'm going to drive the baler because who doesn't want to drive a Fendt 1050? I think it's a 1050. No, it's only a 930. Oh, Cartech, you're slipping. Still a nice bit of kit. I always assume that when they give you the big Fendt, it's the big Fendt, but actually it's not really the big Fendt, it's the medium-sized Fendt. Still a really nice bit of kit, and actually something that I'm looking at using on a farm again soon. So I had the Fendt Black Beauty on the Ravenwood Dairy series that I did, and it was a really nice tractor to use, and I'm really keen to use it again. So yeah, probably not on here, maybe on Greenlands, because it's another 300-400 horsepower tractor, which would be really useful on there. On here, I'd love a JCB. I'd really like to replace the Fendt because the manual gearbox is a little bit clunky. So yeah. So now down in field 11, which is the last field we need to deal with. Just finished windrowing it. We have got the other 2 fields baled. Just need to do field 11. These 2 fields are very snug. Even with any kit, they would be snug, but with a big M and then that big baler, they were tight. So using the best contracts mod, I think I need to deliver 12 bales to finish all of these contracts. You can see there are many more than 12 bales just in this field, so we are going to get a fair few excess bales off of here, which is cool because hay is something that we are a little bit short of and was going to be my next big operation, and we're getting square bales of hay, which is what I want. So up at the delivery point, and that is all 3 contracts complete. So everything that's left is ours, which is this full bale stacker. So I cleared off the other field, and then we've just filled it up from those. And then we have a few left in the field as well. Yeah, this is a private road, so it's fine that we block it. Check my video of Calmsden versus real Calmsden if you want to just check that. Yeah, so just loading up these last few bales. I will sort out stacking next time. So I'm going to say thanks for watching, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click the like button, leave me a comment, subscribe if you aren't. And we will just redeem these contracts now, because that is all 3 fields empty of bales, which is going to bring us in about 35,000. No, one more job before we finish. Loading up some of these bales at the BGA. Hopefully you didn't go when I did the outro bit. It was a little bit mature. Yes, you can laugh. Yeah, so just trying to keep this thing running, and occasionally taking lumps of cash out of it. Catch you next time.